flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women and men like you. Unfortunately, we have a story, very, very concerning. So I had to bring in my brother, Kareem Johnson. How you doing today, brother? Before we get started, you're muted.
I know. Peace and power. What's going on? Peace and power.
Yeah, peace and power. Peace being the operative word. Peace being the operative word. Listen.
Yeah, we got a lot going on today, man. A lot going on, period.
A lot is definitely going on. I brought you in because we have a story with Silento, the rapper who was charged with the murder of his own cousin. And I know that you work with I hate using the word offenders, right? Like folks who have, been charged or have served time.
Formerly incarcerated.
Formerly
incarcerated persons, FIPs,
Yeah, and you have experience with that demographic. And so a lot of the time that folks have served that you work with has to do with violence. And so for me, when I saw this headline, like Silento charged with murdering his own cousin, my first thing was like, well, how does that happen? How does somebody kill their own cousin? And so I wanted to have you come into the space to really talk to us about this from also an anger management and a de-escalation perspective. So in the meantime, I want to welcome everyone into the Lioness Den. You're already here. You're rocking with us. I'm Lioness Crowned. And we are here at flynubianqueentv.com. That's flynubianqueentv.com in the Lioness Den on weekdays at 12 p.m. Eastern time normally. Okay, so Brother Kareem, what are your initial thoughts on this story?
Well, my initial thoughts is, one, he's a very young man. Two, he's in the entertainment industry. Three, it's been documented that he's been having issues for quite some time. This isn't the only time he's been in the press for something that is personal and not music related. So, my heart goes out to the family. But there was, signs of it, just like there's signs with many of our youth, and it doesn't get addressed. They have these problems, but as long as they're making an income for themselves and for the family, it gets swept under the rug. It never gets addressed. And, it's just a sad process that we do, that we not only do to our youth, but we do to our people on a whole. Again, as long as somebody's getting a bag, as long as somebody's the breadwinner, you know what I'm saying? Other people are leeching off and not taking care of the person. We watched the same thing with DMX for years. They knew he had issues prior to getting into the industry. Got into the industry, made the bag, nobody helped. Nobody sat him down on a regular basis to get continuous help. And now we're at a point where the majority of our youth that are in the street, that are active in street organizations, that are active in gangs, that are active in the entertainment industry are out of their mind. No mental balance. They're using prescription drugs, heavy prescription drugs, Percocets and stuff like that. They're drinking, right? Liquor that is not going through the process of, how it used to be made. Now it's kind of, fast-tracked assembly line liquor that has other additives into it. They're smoking marijuana that has been spliced. You dig what I'm saying? That is now addictive. At one time, they could get away with smoking marijuana because it wasn't addictive. Now these different strains are very addictive, and it's layered and layered and layered. So of course, if he had any mental issues, even the basic anger issues, rage issues, is going to be amplified. And now this is what we're dealing with.
Absolutely. Thank you for giving us that context. Now we see that, our folks are in the chat. Shout out to our moderators. Shout out to everyone in the Lioness Den. Thank you so much for, letting us know, or just keeping it in perspective, right? About socially what our children, our young people, our youth are dealing with, the society that they live in, the sort of youth culture or young adult culture right now, definitely Generation Z. stuff. And then also the glorification of drugs, and really what I call death culture in terms of the music or rap or whatever it is. It's not hip hop. It's not hip hop. I don't even like calling it rap. I don't even know what it is, but there's a lot of different layers to that. And if you add on personal trauma, generational trauma, vicarious trauma, secondary traumas, and a lot of different things, it's like added layers on top of being a young Black man in a really racially hostile anti-Black society. So with the purpose of this broadcast today is to have our brother Kareem Johnson come in and give us a really, really elevated and real perspective, because this is the work that he does. He's working with brothers like Silento. He's working with families who have lost relatives and friends and loved ones to gun violence. He does a great work with, interventions, and he has a lot of years and life experience under his belt. Our brother is also an author of the All-American Justice System Handbook, Handcuffs, Showers, Shoes, and Visits. Our brother, you can find his books on Kindle as well as Amazon. You can download them or you can order it, the hard copy. But I wanted to say that, and to say that, like, listen, you also do one-on-one and group coaching for men to really rehabilitate them and really help give them some strategies for being successful in this hostile society, given all of the other isms that I sort of just named. And so I want to shout everyone out in the Lioness Den. Make sure you all hit that like button and that you share this broadcast. I also want to make a special announcement again. My course, Unapologetic Black Power, will be live and direct, and the first Q&A is going to be on Wednesday, February 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I need you to go over to flynubianpower.com. That's flynubianpower.com. Sign up for our course. It comes with sign up for my course. It comes with a 7-day free trial. So you'll get the first lecture as well as the live Q&A. Listen, I'm an educator. I'm generationally, you know what I'm saying? I am an educator, but, also by trade and by profession, I'm an educator also with the expertise in African-American studies. And y'all already know I do a lot of work, but this is a real course, right? This is a course in which we're going to do a lot of reading. There will be homework. There's going to be Q&As. There's going to be a lot of stuff digging into, like, what does it mean to be unapologetic in your Blackness and to be B1 first? What is it that we need to be thinking about, and how do we codify and make sure that we are being consistent, that we are consistently and unapologetically bucking back on the system of anti-Black racism and replacing it with the system of justice, as Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. teaches us? How do you empower yourselves around that? How do you empower how do we as a community, as a collective, as a village, empower our young people? What are the foundational teachings, right, and concepts of our culture of being unapologetically Black? You know what I'm saying? People say Black power, but actually, what does that mean? How are we empowering ourselves? What is Black empowerment? We're going to dig into all of that. And young people can take this course, of course, but I really want adults to do it, parents as well. So there's going to be multiple opportunities for discourse and for learning. And I'm really excited for this course. Again, it's called Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crowned, me, your sister in the struggle. But also make sure you go over to flynubianpower.com, flynubianpower.com, and I'll definitely put the link in the chat in just a moment. I want everyone to share this broadcast because I'm about to share my screen. So let me read this, Brother Kareem. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, and teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So, unfortunately, this is what we got going on. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I see it.
All right. So this is from TMZ. They're so damn whack. I don't know, but it's always the #1 trending headline. And for some reason, maybe because they're the feds or whatever, I don't freaking know. They always like have the story first and they get the breaking news. I think I'm going to make an assumption. I don't know. I wonder. I'm being facetious here. I wonder if they are actually law enforcement. But look, it says Silento charged with murdering cousin. Manager claims he's mentally ill. Okay, and so this is Silento. He looks like a little baby, y'all. Looking really young here. Okay, so it says update 8:14 a.m. Pacific time. Silento's managers asking for positive thoughts for the rapper, claiming he's been suffering from a series of mental health illnesses for several years. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and read this really quickly, and then I'll have our brother chime in. Please, February 1st, 2021 at 10:08 p.m. Please send my client Silento some positive vibrations. Over the past several years, Ricky has been suffering immensely from a series of mental health illnesses. We will continue in his efforts of treatment, but we ask in the meantime the public uplift him and his family in immediate prayer and positive energy. Ricky is a beautiful soul, and we hope that the same people who came up whipping and Nae Naeing with him continue to support him and lift it in prayer. God bless. Any questions or comments, please reach out to Chanel H at PRmentalitynetwork.com. Thank you, Chanel Hudson, PR manager. I'm going to unshare my screen and stop there because I do want to honor this request as put out out of respect for young Silento, out of respect for the culture, out of respect and healing, for uplifting our brothers and sisters who do actually have histories with struggles and challenges around mental health, because that's not a joke. So I am going to honor that. And Brother Kareem, before I continue, I do, in all transparency though, I did a broadcast last week about, what is it, some white dude with long hair who was a former NFL player who beat the hell out of his Black girlfriend. Hopefully they're no longer together. He allegedly choked her, punched her, and strangled her until she was unconscious. And then he's still a free agent, by the way, by the NFL. That's the last I heard. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but this white dude, it was on social media making statements saying he didn't take his bipolar meds. And I literally made a whole broadcast saying that Black society is not buying that, and that mental health excuse is not going to fly, because oftentimes when our brothers and sisters in our community have legit mental health challenges, such as, I assume also to be very accurate in the case of our little brother Silento, they don't get any sort of sympathy. They're not seen as victims. They are just seen as like trash and kind of thrown away. And you know what it's like, in terms of the prison system. So I wanted to, in all transparency, so I'm not a hypocrite, but I'm very, very clear that a white man beating the hell out of his girlfriend and trying to kill her and literally choke her out because he told her to bow down to him, and she didn't bow down to him, and then, stood over her allegedly and said, damn, you're not dead yet, and stuff like that. And then to go on to social media, and claim that, oh, I'm so sorry, and white splain and say, oh, it's because I didn't take my bipolar meds. That doesn't fly with me, and that does not fly with Black society. And also, I'm clear that we're not comparing apples to oranges when it comes on to mental health in terms of what them folk do over there and what's needed and necessary in our community. And the reason why, again, I'm framing this very, very clearly, because I am consistent. I am a consistent stand for our brothers and sisters. And mental health is a very, very serious thing. I'm not saying that people who ain't Black or B1 don't have mental health issues. What I'm saying is, in the law or in the court of public opinion, our brothers and sisters are treated differently and held to a different standard than everybody else. And so what we're going to do is we are going to use this time to elevate the conversation around the situation with our little brother Silento, and we are going to send him some positive vibrations here, but then to also get into a real conversation around mental health, the criminal justice system, and rehabilitation. Brother Kareem.
Well, again, we find ourselves in dual spaces here, right? We're speaking criminal justice, we're speaking mental wellness or mental health issues, and we're speaking two different cultures, right? We're speaking of the entertainment industry as a culture, and we're speaking of sports, and then we have racial differences on both incidents. Now, again, to remain consistent and not contradictory, we can't excuse either incident, right? We can't excuse the young brother incident, and we definitely can't excuse this Saltines incident, which is in another layer, domestic violence, right? And you know, we can go into very, very different degrees of mental illness on both parts. Why was she with him? Why was he with her? That's a mental illness in itself. I mean, to keep it 100, you understand? I don't know who was gaining from what in that dynamic. But when we're speaking on mental illness and the justice system, mental illness is never an excuse, especially if it's not documented historically with the individual. Now, this Saltine may have documented, right, a mental illness issue where he is taking his medication, and the justice system will excuse him for that. We've seen it. I've seen it in our community as well. So that's, we're going to, you know, kind of negate the racial implication with that until it comes to the point of where our Black people, right, don't get that same track record of mental illness and that documentation. Many people run around with mental health problems in our community and is not documented. Therefore, when law enforcement is engaging with them, they utilize the ability to murder them or to lock them up, right, unjustly in the numbers, right? Because of that, because there's no documentation of the mental illness. Like everybody knows, we got a crazy cousin or a crazy aunt, and it's a serious mental health issue, but it's never been documented. They never went for treatment for it. So by the time law enforcement kicks in, it's too late. I've seen people get serious numbers, sentenced to serious bids over an incident that if it would have been documented, if they would have had treatment for it coming up, they would have never been in jail or never been murdered by law enforcement. So this is a very, very real dynamic that we have in our community. So there's layers when we're dealing with both of these incidents. Silento, again, he was a victim of several different institutions. You under a racist institution as a melanated person. He went through a racist education system for I don't know how many years because the young brother was able to make a hit record and jump up out of that. So again, now you escape layers of poverty, but then you run into a demonic institution, right, that deals with a lot of rituals, that deals with a lot of drug use, that deals with a lot of sexism. So you are caught up in that. You understand? But again, we can't use that as an excuse. You took your cousin's life. And this is what I talk about on a regular basis, that our people have no luxury of time when it comes to addressing these issues. Mental health, gun violence, our youth not being led in the right direction. And even today in 2021, people with limited knowledge of the justice system. That's why the book is there. We have people who have been in the justice system that forgets about it as soon as they are released. So our people are very, very, very naive to the very things that challenge us every single day. Every single day. So, you know, it is imperative that we work. I got to work on this all day, every day. I have no time to rest because there's a situation around the block every day. I'm dealing with the situations that's going on in Harlem with our young Black women continuously under attack. We had another one who was shot down because she defended herself when people accosted her. And she did what we tell them to do. Go get a Black man to protect you. And she went and got her boyfriend or her significant other, and they both were subsequently shot down by the people who assaulted her or accosted her. And she ended up losing her life on the back end of a mother who was killed by her own son in Harlem, and on the back end of a sister who was bit in the face, right? Because she told people, no, that's all right. I don't need you to pay for anything, and try to go on her way, which in itself should be, right? We could classify it as an attempt murder because we don't even know if that man had COVID or anything. And he bit her in the face. So, you know, we dealing with a lot. So I always charge the leadership. Where's the leadership in our community, right? This sister who was shot 5 blocks away from National Action Network. What's going on in that community that the Black men feel that they could do that? So that is the charge, not of the community. That is the charge of the leadership who say they've been there for decades doing the work. We're the people who came up under that tutelage who claim that they all that. But they're on social media, way in other cities, promoting sweatsuits and bullshit and not working. Not working, but you go around on social media on a regular basis claiming that you are the next, when our communities are continuously getting hammered.
Right. Hold on, Brother Kareem, let me bring it back to something I just saw in the chat. And first of all, shout out to everyone who's tapped in and tuned into the Lioness Den. I need everybody, make sure you hit the like button right now. Make sure you share this broadcast because, of course, as usual, per usual, our brother is dropping gems. We have a Kid Max in the chat, Brother Kareem, who says, man, this sucks. Don't even know what happened, but I already know that man Silento finally cracked. Right. But he also said, this person who's in the chat right now, Kid Max, says, I was about to get signed to the same label he was signed to. A&R told me they had just signed him or whatever. So, you know, this is someone who was, you know, possibly going to be signed to the same label. And he was, you know, just also co-signing your points there. But to what responsibility? Because I do want there to be, you're right. There's a lot of different layers of ways in which systems, right, and people have killed our little brother. And this is an example of what tends to happen to young Black men in our community in particular. However, to what extent do you believe that these record labels, these A&Rs and stuff should be really supporting the mental health and just overall health and wellness of the folks who are on their labels? What do you think about that, especially as someone who's also been in the music industry, the hip hop, the real hip hop industry, by the way?
Listen, the industry in itself is there just to make money off of you. Your art and creativity is one thing. Once you step into the business of that, that's a whole different world. That's a whole different set of rules. That's a whole, there is nothing. They have absolutely no responsibility to take care of the artist. That is just an absolute fact because they exercise outside of what other corporations have to deal with. You understand? It's not like General Motors. It's not like working for Intel. It's not like working for Starbucks and things of that nature, where the owner is specifically responsible for the health and welfare of its employees. So the contracts that you sign when you're going into an agreement with the record industry, with Hollywood, with you know, these corporations like Disney and Virgin Records and all this other garbage, you're not signing into something that says they're going to take care of you. You're on your own. So once you do that, you are responsible for yourself. All they are going to do, and they're going to do a very good job at keeping you away from the profits of it, is push that material, push that creativity so they can profit and make the most out of it while you are there. If you meet your demise, oh well. Have you ever seen a record company sued for the death of Tupac Shakur? Have you ever seen a record company sued for the death of Christopher Wallace? You understand what I'm saying? There's none of them that,
Okay, so yes, Brother Kareem, you're right. We know when we don't own these institutions in the hip hop industry, the entertainment industry as it is today, and given who owns and dominates it, yes, this is really business as usual, right? Like they are capitalizing off of Black talent. However, if in 2021, and shout out to all my B1 family in the chat, make sure you hit the like button. If in 2021 and beyond, this new decade, right, where we are saying, you know what, we are doing for self and we're going to build our own. Do you believe it's an opportunity and a responsibility for, you know, Black people creating entertainment and media companies, you know, being A&Rs or PR managers or Black owned record labels? Do you believe that we should be holding Black folks who own companies in the music industry to really shift the paradigm and create opportunities for enforcing or supporting artists with health and wellness, and specifically mental health, you know, drug abuse and stuff like that? Do you feel like we are at a place right now where we can look at, you know, Black owned record labels and stuff like that to say, hey,
name them.
What needs to
name them. Don't just say it.
This is not what I'm saying. I don't know any, but
because they don't own them.
No,
the teens own them. This
so
is what I'm telling you.
So you're saying
none. If they are independently owned, you don't know about them. You understand what I'm saying? The ones who you see on a regular basis, I'm telling you, they're owned by a saltine somewhere down the line. You can't name them. That's why you don't know. I'm telling you, because there are none. Once you reach a certain level and you're independent, they're going to buy you out in order for you to get that exposure. Therefore, you are owned by a saltine. The ones who are strictly independent and own their own stuff, you don't hear about them. You don't know who they are. You understand? Because they are struggling to make their way, and they may be self-sufficient enough to take care of themselves. So they may buy into an insurance provider for themselves if they have that knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? Anybody that you see right now is up under the banner of one of them saltines. You can't name them. They don't own themselves. I don't care who it is. You could go as high as Oprah or as low as somebody that is just coming through the game.
So you're saying that Europeans just own all of it and there aren't any opportunities.
Everything.
So you're saying that there aren't any opportunities for record labels at all to enforce.
Name a label. There's no labels. That era of music is done. You can practically do everything in your home by yourself. I'm sitting with it. My son is a music producer. He helps other artists. They're not where they at when you see somebody else, but he does everything on his own. He owns himself. Nobody knows who he is.
Completely independent.
Completely independent.
Got it. Completely.
He don't ask me for no bread, so he doing okay.
Right.
He owns his own studio. He's doing his thing. But the minute you see a bubble, a blip of somebody on TV, on Sirius radio, on broadcast radio, and it's continuous and it becomes a hit and things of that nature, they don't own that. You're not getting into that industry without making a deal with these saltines.
As in white people or Europeans. I'm clear on what you mean, but I'm also mindful of the algorithm as well. Now, If you're tuning into the Lioness Den, I am Lioness Crowned, your revolutionary, unapologetically Black host right here at flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated people like you. And we're with our brother Kareem Johnson, who is also tapped in and tuned in. Unfortunately, we're talking about rapper Silento, who has been charged with the murder of his cousin. Before we go any further, I definitely want to reset the Lioness Den for the folks who just came in. I'm gonna need you all to make sure you hit the like button, make sure you share this broadcast, make sure you text the word Queens to 31996. That's Queens with an S to 31996. That way you'll get text message notifications when we do go live. Also, we invite you to go over to shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. Check out our merchandise, support our brand. Also sign up for our programming at flynubianmoney.com and flynubianbusiness.com. Shout out to everyone who attended the Women of Wealth Weekend Conference this past weekend. It was absolutely amazing. Definitely, go to the website, womenofwealthweekend.com, womenofwealthweekend.com. The information for folks upgrading their tickets to VIP for the next event as an extension of the conference last weekend. You definitely want to go over to womenofwealthweekend.com to handle that. The other thing is, I'm really excited. My online course at flynubianpower.com. Yes, flynubianpower.com is available. You all should be signing up for it. It's a 7-day, it comes with a 7-day free trial, first lecture, as well as a live Q&A. That live Q&A will be on Wednesday, February 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And the course is Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crowned. Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crown. What are the keys to Black power? What are the keys to Black empowerment? How do we get there? What do we need to learn? How do we get on code and get on code quick? How do we defend our children at all costs? How do we interrupt anti-Black racism and stand in the face of white supremacy powerfully, be it on your job, in your community, dealing with your child's school or whatever. And who are the elders that are still here with us, and who are the ancestors that left a whole blueprint for us to follow in order to survive and thrive in the system of anti-Black racism, and to replace it with the system of justice. So we're going to be doing all of that. Yes, I'm putting on my professor hat, my teacher hat, and we're going to dig into some serious stuff. And this is not just going to be a whole bunch of like dialogue. There's actual readings. We have ways that we're going to measure our success. We're going to set some goals, and we're going to do some action planning, and we're going to be in this together. So make sure you go over to flynubianpower.com. That's flynubianpower.com. Sign up, enroll in the course, and take advantage of the free 7-day trial. Now, Brother Karim, for those also who just came into the Lioness Den as they're sharing and liking this broadcast, I'm going to read the statement. I'm going to reread the statement from Chanel Hudson, who is Silento's PR manager. And if you don't know who the rapper Silento is, he's the one who did this song, Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nae Nae, right? That all the kids loved, and that went viral several years ago. But this was written on February the 1st, 2021. Please send my client Silento some positive vibrations. Over the past several years, Ricky has been suffering immensely from a series of mental health illnesses. We continue in his efforts of treatment, but we ask in the meantime the public uplift him and his family in immediate prayer and positive energy. Ricky is a beautiful soul, and we hope that the same people who came up whipping and nay-naying with him continue to support him and lift it in prayer. God bless. Any questions or comments, please reach out to Chanel H at prmentalitynetwork.com. Thank you. Signed, Chanel Hudson, PR manager. Now, I wanted to make sure we reset the space with folks who just came in, because that is the focus. How do we, and I'm seeing a lot of folks, be one to everyone in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of folks also in the comments saying it's no excuse. He killed his cousin. There's no excuse. Brother, you're expert as a professional. How do we not excuse what happened and, have a level of accountability? Because we all agree that, like, it is just unacceptable to kill anybody, let alone your cousin. So I am not excusing that, but how do we hold someone with mental health illnesses, according to the PR manager, how do we hold them accountable and still, support their healing treatment and really, see them as a victim of illnesses as well? How do we do that? How do we balance both?
Well, people gonna have a problem with having a tolerance, right, and giving an excuse to the young man because of how they view young people and how they view the entertainment industry, right? We have to look at people who have mental illness, and that starts in our home. You understand? That starts early on in school. That starts with somebody looking at it, seeing an issue, and diagnosing it. It has to be excusable because there's a lot of things that we excuse that we really shouldn't. You understand? We really shouldn't excuse when politicians lie to us. We really shouldn't excuse people who galvanize others to say, well, they're B1 and they're really not. And they prove they don't, and they undermine Black women and children. When somebody has a mental health issue, there's a lot behind that. Again, there's a lot of layers to that. You understand? I know this man lost his life, and that's hurtful. And there's nothing that could ever bring him back, and there's no coming back from it. But let's look at the path. Let's look at the path of how we got to that space. And if mental illness wasn't caught before then, you understand? I'm sure I'm not there. I don't know the family makeup. I don't know what he was doing in school. I don't know what adults were around him, but I'm sure that there were signs of it prior to his reaching this point right here. All of us. So that means if we're not going to excuse him, then we can't excuse the community as well. He just got here. How old is he? 22? Well, I mean, he's in his 20s. So again, along the way, right? He had to have some type of upbringing up until he's maybe 14 or 15. Somebody had to see it and catch it and either ignored it or just allowed it to fester. And then once he was able to articulate himself and articulate his creativity to the point that where he got a hit record, now everybody else benefited off of that. Nobody took the time to say, well, you know what, that was a little off. Maybe we need to look deeper into that. Again, we know he lost a lot. And we know that this man lost his life. But again, there's always room to look at it from an analytical perspective so we don't revisit this again somewhere else. We just can't write it off. Yo, it is what it is, throw him in jail forever, and that's a wrap. Because we still deal with it as a community. His fan base is going to deal with it. His family is going to deal with it. The victim, the cousin's immediate parents and stuff are going to feel that. Us as a community going to deal with that. And that's what we don't do. We don't deal with those traumas. And then we relive it over and over and over again without using our intelligence, without being woke and be one and dealing with it. We can't just pack it away and say, no excuse, he's gone, and then that's that. Nah, we got to
hold on for 1 second, because I want to bring this up. This message is being held for review. Somebody so-called Nat Turner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read it, Brother Kareem. You respond. You say what you think. I call BS on this mental illness excuses. Only the strong survive in this world. SHIT happens. Dust your hands off and keep it moving.
Okay. Again, we don't know who he is or what it is. I'm on social media all day. When something is just blatantly out like that, and it's coming from a point of no understanding that's bordering on ignorance, I block it or dismiss it. Because if we're not going to deal with it from a point of intelligence, you dig what I'm saying? They don't excuse nobody else. If we're not going to excuse ourselves, you dig what I'm saying, to get to a better space, then let's just all go out then. Let's just all go out. You strong, the strong survive? That's what we going at?
That's social Darwinism. That is the most white supremacist.
I want to know if that's how we're going to give it up, then he or she or whoever's behind that statement don't want any excuse when they are in error. You understand what I'm saying? They don't want the sympathy or the empathy. They don't want to be looked at as such. So let's just keep that same energy when it comes to them. Let's keep the same energy.
Even oh, it's snowing hard too. Even, like again, that whole social Darwinistic, someone's flawed, or if anyone is
when they say that, that's what they telling Black folk.
With ableism or anything, if a child, has autism, that whole concept of survival of the fittest, social Darwinism, natural selection, all of that is the basis of white supremacist
It
logic.
is.
And this is
All
why
day.
Brother Karim, I'm so excited to teach this course on unapologetic Black power, because people don't even realize how deeply ingrained these the white supremacy ideology has in our psyche and the way we see the world, the way we interact with the world and each other, the words we speak, how we speak. And even something as simple as like this, you know, this very, very common statement, survival of the fittest, only the strong survive. That is some eugenicist type talk. Right? We need to be really mindful when we're saying stuff like that. I'm gonna need y'all to go over to flynubianpower.com and start this course, because we got a lot of work to do. We're talking about again on code.
Right. Even the response to white supremacy is coming from Black people with a Eurocentric belief in how we come up out of it. That's how ingrained it is. So if it's survival of the fittest, you don't want reparation, you don't want acknowledgement, you don't want to be included in none of that. Survive. Get it how you can get it. That's what you're saying. Get it how you can get it. And when you fall on one of the blades of this system, you got to accept it. Don't reach out for no support. So people have to understand what they're saying when they say that. Survival of the fittest, you do right. Hold that down. Keep that same energy. And when police stop you and you're not equipped to get away from the gunfire, my brother, Mr. Nat Turner, hold it down. Hold it down when you're in prison. Hold it down when you're unjustly dealt with. Hold it down when that sister you with say, you know what, you ain't making enough. Get up out of here. I need a man with some bread. Hold that down. You keep that same energy. You be survival. You be surviving. You be the fittest. Hold that same exact energy, because we're dealing with intelligence here. I'm dealing with high science. And that's how we have to look at it. Mental illness is very, very real. Very real. I deal with children with autism. I have an autistic niece that I see. A lot of these things are very, very real. I deal with brothers who are manic depressive. I deal with brothers who are enraged and got guns on them every day and living with the delusions of fear of somebody coming to get them. Mental illness has very, very, very layered effects, and our people go through it the most because we are oppressed and we have been separated not only from each other, but from the rest of the world. So our outlook, our outreach is very, very unique. And if you don't know how to speak to people who are suffering mental illness, if you're not an expert with it, if you don't know how to connect to the people because they don't trust you, because you don't come in a proper image, you don't come and speak with the proper tone, then we will keep going around in circles with it. That's just what it is.
Facts.
You know, people say a lot, man. They say a lot.
They say a lot, but they don't do SHIT. That's the whole point. But anyway, we're not going to censor that right now. Shout out to everyone in the Lioness Den. People are asking about my course. It's called Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crowned. Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crowned. Yours truly. Go over to flynubianpower.com. That's flynubianpower.com. Sign up. Comes with a 7-day free trial. First live Q&A is going to be based off of the first lecture, and that live Q&A is going to be on February the 17th, which is a Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know, once I start teaching, who knows how long it's going to go for, but you will definitely come out of our course, the entire course that I'm offering with a lot of value, okay? So go over to flynubianpower.com and just follow this link, which is also in the chat. Take advantage of this opportunity, y'all, because we have work to do. It's not enough. I can't come on. You know this, Brother Karim. Most of the work that we do, I would say about 80% of the work that I do happens off of the internet, right? Like, I am not let me tell y'all, let me just get it really, really clear. I'm not an entertainer. I never really saw myself as a podcaster. I am an influencer. I try to be an influencer in my home, in my community, in life, and all of that good stuff. But I'm not here. I'm an educator, and then I'm here to really use this opportunity to connect with folks on the airwaves, to bridge the gap between what I know, what I learned, what I experienced, what what my other areas of expertise are, to really look at trending topics and things that are going on, for us to really have intelligent conversations so that we can really shift the paradigm. That's why I'm here. That's the purpose of it. But for real, we can't even dig into 95% of what needs to be said and done on no damn YouTube, or no Facebook, or none of that. We have to have classrooms, and then we can have virtual classrooms. So this is why, we can't really have the in-person like that anymore. But there's things that we need to learn and get on code about, that this is not, this public sort of like social media situation is not the place for that. So I invite y'all to go over to flynubianpower.com to sign up for this course. It's going to be an 8-week course. And then for real, if we start feeling ourselves, it makes sense. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I'm an educator. So, I'm like, we going to go all the way in and be very, very thorough, so that we can continue on with the build. So make sure y'all go over there, take advantage of that 7-day free trial. But you know how it is, Brother Karim, your work happens like off of, not, on a screen. It's out there in the community. It's with your Black fathers, right, that you're working with, and talking about anger management and de-escalation. And that's kind of where I want to take the conversation next. In a situation, right, can you just educate the family in the Lioness Den on the best ways that we can try to de-escalate situations where there's like extreme anger and or mental illness? I've taken the training, New York State first responders for mental health, but what are some of the strategies that we see now? In all fairness, though, I definitely do have to let the family know that these, charges that Silento got was for allegedly gunning down his cousin. Okay, so when we're talking about de-escalating a situation with someone who's angry or potentially violent, it really depends on the situation and the context. So it's not a one size fits all. I have to give that disclaimer. And then the other thing is too, I'm not pathologizing this little brother. I'm not pathologizing any of our people who suffer with, mental health. But I just want our brother Karim to give some general strategies and know that there's not a one size fits all. And then also somebody with a gun, who is also suffering from multiple mental illnesses, is also kind of like I don't want to say it's kind of unique. It's like, that's a different level of escalation and de-escalation. But just give us some general tips. If the little girl, and I know I'm talking a lot, but this is important before you go in, Brother Karim, because I know how you like to go in. But the little 9-year-old girl who was handcuffed in the back of the police car and maced by some race soldiers, allegedly, what I'm hearing that happened in Rochester, New York, I'm allegedly hearing that she was locked up in the first place, and the police were called because her mother called and said that she was acting out and threatened to kill her mother. And so the mother probably didn't have de-escalation tactics or strategies for her baby, and it resulted in what we saw as a 9-year-old girl being locked up, handcuffed by some race soldiers, some white race soldiers, and then maced in the face, a 9-year-old baby. So what are some of the things that we need to think about in terms of de-escalating these sorts of situations?
Well, first of all, make sure that you're not in harm's way. That's the first thing. You have to make sure that you're assessing the situation and you're not in harm's way. You can't, sacrifice yourself, run up in something or at someone, and you really don't know what you're doing. You don't have any knowledge of it. That's important. Make sure you're safe first. 2 is to listen. You observe the situation and you listen. Most times when people are that elevated and agitated, they're speaking out. They're yelling out. They're making demands. You understand what I'm saying? Leave me alone. Don't touch. You have to listen and see exactly what's going on. And 3, which is always most important, is tone. Tone and appearance, an appearance of calmness, an appearance of tone. Make sure your hands is visible. Make sure you're not, you know, further agitating the individual or individuals. You dig? It's a practice. It's a practice that people, again, you have to be trained. Like everything, it is a science. It is a specific manner in which you have to approach. But those are three most important. Make sure you're not in harm's way. Make sure you're observing everything about the situation. You understand, whether it's a closed environment, an open environment. You dig what I'm saying? Notice the person's movement. Listen to what they're saying. You understand? And three, your tone. Your tone. Everything has to deal with your tone. But if you're not equipped with any of that, I mean, you may have to, which I can't stand, but you may have to call 911. You understand? And that's why our people are always in that precarious position to have to deal with these people who don't care nothing about us and enter into our domestic living areas, our homes, our cars, our person. You understand? Once you activate that, it's very difficult. So our people have to, again, go and take these specific trainings. Go to Jade's course to figure out what the lioness is speaking on when we're talking about B1, codifying mental awareness, spiritual awareness, cultural awareness, being on code, because we have to get away from these systems that destroy us, that kill us. And then everything else can be worked on because we know how to speak to our own people. We know how to do these things, but when you incorporate that other system, it's never good. It's never a good outcome. It's never a good outcome. So these are the things that we should be spending time on, not shaking your butt challenges, not challenges where you're making a silhouette of your ass. You dig what I'm saying? There's time for fun and games, but what are you doing consistently on a daily basis when you say you want to bring yourself out of certain conditions, but your actions, the way you manifest yourself, is totally the opposite? We don't have time to do it. We don't have time to bull. We don't. No time to BS, but our people continuously do it. There's no consistent militancy. So then we become victims of our own truth, victims of our own reality, victims of our own procrastination. And we continuously see young brothers killing each other, young brothers abusing and now shooting and killing our women, our elders becoming victims, being found in apartments because they've been taken advantage of because nobody has an eye out on them. So killing our elders.
And the babies, I heard about a story of 6 people were shot. I think it was last night or this morning. And of those 6 people, it was 5 children.
Right. Because again, it's all fun and games when you see the brothers on the corner smoking Fanta with this synthetic weed, always worrying about Henny and looking for somebody to thought out. And on that flip note, the sisters who want to be thoughts and I'm going to get my money and all that, utilizing their body. And it's a system of a whole bunch of garbage, an institution of garbage going around, and then it spills out because they're no longer in control of their mindset. They're no longer in control of their mind and their heart not connecting. And you getting vibrations that are off. So now our babies are killed, our elders are killed, and soon you're going to be killed because you're going to come in conflict with a race soldier who's already geared and conditioned to look at you as nothing more than something to be targeted and shot down.
Right.
That's what it is. We don't have the luxury to waste time. And as long as you got leaders that's allowing you to do it because they get in the bag from the system, so they don't care. And they know how to play the game and they know how to smile and they know how to present and speak. And they are in alignment with the other leaders who are trying to get the bag, and they're all working to undermine the very people who's supposed to be served. who's supposed to be protected, who's supposed to be healed.
Right.
It's a continuous cycle of garbage.
Absolutely. We got to wrap up because I literally have another meeting that starts in 11
Yeah,
minutes.
I got a client that's been hitting me now for anger management for the last 20 minutes. But again,
okay. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this. So I just wanted to I want to thank you, and I also, for the folks who are in the line, is then shout out to y'all. We're gonna be here weekdays 12 p.m. Eastern time, and if you're just tuning in, I read couple times the statement from rapper Silento's PR manager. I put the link to the story from TMZ in the chat. Quote, this is from TMZ. It says, as we reported, Silento had a rough 2020. Legally speaking, he was arrested back in October after cops said he was driving at 143 miles per hour. And in September, he was arrested and charged with 2 felony counts of assault with a deadly weapon for allegedly threatening people with a hatchet. He's currently being held in DeKalb County Jail. We've reached out to his camp. This is what they initially posted on the 1st, and that was before his PR manager made a statement. But what I do want to say is that the PR manager, Silento's PR manager, did state that he has been suffering with mental health illnesses, more than one, for some time. So the request is to uphold him and pray for his treatment and healing. We do send our condolences out to his cousin that he allegedly shot and killed. This is definitely a tragedy. This is a young brother, and this is unfortunate, and I hope that he definitely does get the treatment and the healing that he needs. And it's time for us to really start to handle these situations with our people and mental health differently, and not jump on the bandwagon with the rest of the mainstream media painting our people as just these horrible demons when situations like this happens, but they don't keep the same energy when it's a white boy who claims he didn't take his bipolar meds and he beat the hell out of his girlfriend, but he's still a free agent in the NFL. So I wanted to put that out there. Brother Karim, if you could just take like a minute, let folks know how they can follow you and support your work. You definitely do one-on-one anger management. So how do folks get in contact with you for that, and how do we buy your book?
Again, my Cash App is $ B as in boy, LIZ 155. $ BLIZ 155. This is Black History Month, the month of Black history. We know the significance of it. We know how they downplay it and what we supposed to be doing on a daily basis all year anyway. But I've been on my Facebook every day, right, with a specific fundraiser to make sure the work get done for preventive strategies and techniques. We put an initiative together and we're building a team to do it. So this is what the Cash App is for, to build in this team for preventive services so our children and young adults do not go into the justice system, and for our adults coming out post-release to give them the tools to work within the society. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm on Facebook every day, Karim Johnson on Facebook. I'm doing my live for the month. Every day, a different book. Yesterday book was Asada. Get it, digest it. That was the first book because our queens have been the first initiators of B1 and revolutionary struggle. Without reading that book, you're going to miss the basics. Day 2 was today, Eldridge Cleaver, Soul on Ice. Every day, I'm going to push you to a higher level of consciousness. Those are the basics. So I'm doing those live. I'm on Instagram as Blizz, BLIZ, _ENY Brooklyn, Twitter, Karim Blizz Johnson, Clubhouse, all social media. You know, my DM and inboxes are always public. Reach out for anger management services specifically. Get an intake and an interview. DM me or inbox me for that, and we'll discuss everything once that's done.
Thank you, Brother Cram. I'm just getting an alert for my next meeting. I want to thank you for your time. I want to shout out everyone in the Lioness Den again, sending love and light to Silento as well as his family. And, you know, we do uplift his cousin who lost his life. We uplift him in prayer as well. And we will be back, y'all. We will be back. The Lioness Den is live and in effect weekdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. FlyNubianQueenTV.com, which is on YouTube. Be sure to text the word Queens to 31996. That's Queens with an S to 31996. Go over to FlyNubianPower.com. That's FlyNubianPower.com. Or follow the link in the chat to enroll in my free 7-day trial course, right? But the course is not free. The first 7 days are. Let me back down on that, because but go over there and take advantage of the free 7-day trial. Right? Go over and sign up for my course, Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crowned. Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crowned. First live Q&A is on February 17th, based off of the first lecture, y'all. You don't want to miss it. You definitely want to go over and take advantage of that. Go over to FlyNubianPower.com. That's FlyNubianPower.com. Brother Karim, thank you so much. This broadcast is ending, but so is global racism and white supremacy. We will and we must trample this beast through fortitude, preparedness, and collectivism. And always remember that they stole us, they sold us, so they owe us. Until next time, family, peace and Black power.